Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about One World Under Doom issue 2 by Ryan North, R.B. Silver and David Curiel. Dr. Doom's takeover of the world continues this issue as in Arizona, the Fantastic Four, who are living away from New York, try and stop some crooks who are on the run in their giant armored car. North gets right into it and doesn't stop as the team care really not for the crooks, rather seeing them as just an annoyance and something in their way, instead deciding to use this time to try and talk about Doom's takeover and how he has outmaneuvered them. It's funny just how unbothered the team are of these bank robbers. These guys are trying so hard to get away from the Fantastic Four and literally nothing they do works. And the team are just like, yeah, it's just a bunch of bank robbers. Yeah, we deal with this all the time. We also get a bit more of a sense of the world here as Reed reveals that there aren't any so-called indoctrination centers or mind control facilities like Johnny thinks. All of the schools Doom has built are legitimate schools with proper curriculums, and they're all well funded too. The Thing believes that Doom is up to something, and the longer they wait, the more the public will side with him, so they need to act now. As the team arrest the crooks, Valeria contacts Sue to tell her mother that she's going to the Future Foundation to meet up with an old friend, promising to be home soon. Reed meanwhile reveals to the family that he knows where Doom will be tomorrow, knowing that he's going to address the United Nations and the whole world will be watching, so if they want to strike, that would be the best time to do it and reveal who he really is. So I get the idea behind the plan, prove Doom really is still evil. Very simple. But the thing is that this is literally what the Avengers did last issue, and that completely backfired on Tony and the team then, which means it's obviously going to happen again here with Reed and his plan, since of course Victor would have planned for them making a move, his number one enemy. He would have absolutely planned for that, and I'm really excited to find out what plans he has in motion. Valeria, meanwhile, arrives at the Baxter building, but she's not there to meet her friend. She's there to meet Doom himself, who is happy to see his goddaughter. Well, as happy as a guy in an iron mask can look. Meeting, as it turns out, is Val's idea, even going so far as to give Victor access to the building so alarms wouldn't trigger. She does make a point saying that she is actually going to see her friend, just so she technically didn't lie to her parents, she just omitted the truth. Valeria wants her uncle to be truthful with her like he always is, wanting to know what he is exactly planning. Victor decides to show her, taking Val all the way to Toronto with a snap of his fingers. It's here he asks Val to justify democracy and if it matters or not. Now I like this idea of Val being the one to sort of go against Doom here and go toe to toe with him in ideals. He has a lot of respect for Val and her intelligence, maybe even more than Reed's. And this is a role you would think Reed would be put in, but having Val here is really quite interesting because she's the youngest, she's the next generation, the person who will inherit the Earth, so to speak, once all of these old guard heroes like Reed and people like Doom are gone. Her generation will still be there, so I like that she is the person who has to defend democracy and talk about why it's good and very fitting. Val does just that, saying that the alternatives to democracy involve everyone fighting everyone else for their own self-interests without any organization, and it would be filled with bad actors with no one to stop them. Doom agrees with her but wonders why reject anarchy and chaos at the level of the individual, but they accept it at the level of nations. Doom snaps his fingers again and takes them into space above Earth, knowing that the world now has Doom in charge and it's one cohesive nation under Latveria, not some 200 competing nations it was before. Valeria doesn't believe that he's being fully truthful, so Doom reveals he seeks glory from uniting the world and doing things that others thought impossible. Valeria counters by telling him that he's done these changes without considering others' freedoms or consent, but Doom refuses to hear that he is becoming a fascist, since his rule is founded on the truth that Doom is the best and most qualified to achieve unification of Earth. So I didn't really expect a big Marvel summer event to get really deep into the pros and cons of democracy and stuff like fascism, but here we are and it's all great. North really lays it out really quite simply, anyone can really understand this. It's complex topics, but he makes it very easy to understand, and as I said before, I like this idea of Valeria, the representation of the future generations, talking with someone like Doom, who's a representation generation of the older generation and their competing values. Val refuses to listen to Doom until he has proof of his claims, and Doom says that he's working on getting some, hoping to convince her very soon. He snaps his fingers again, teleporting her home, which I find very interesting since before the trip, Val mentioned that she was going to see her friend after she saw Doom, so she didn't have to outwardly lie to her parents, something that her and Doom had in common. Doom actually respected. You know, they didn't want to lie to one another, but Doom kind of ruined her plans here by sending her straight home and making it so that she has to lie to her parents about seeing her friend. And I kind of like that that might be an indication of where he is. Like, if he's okay that she's lying to her parents, then he's probably lying as well. The next day at the United Nations, Doom begins to broadcast to the world, toasting to the changes his regime has brought on despite a few unpleasant moments. Fantastic Four soon launch their attack, with the team taking down the Doombots guarding the outside of the building. Reed ends up finding something interesting in that the robots are just simple robots. There's no men in suits or anything like that, so the team can kind of let loose on them. And he also finds that there's no traps around the place either, something which he finds very suspicious. Doom's speech continues inside the UN, where he announces that Earth is now a united Latveria, which means it has open borders to all, so anyone can travel and live and work wherever they wish. His announcement brings up cheers and claps from the delegates there, and I love how much North is selling us on Doom being a good guy. Like, everything he's doing so far, at least public facing, is all things that actually would benefit the world and make it so you want to actually root for him as well. Fantastic Four, meanwhile, smells something fishy is going on as the robots barely put up a fight and there's no superpowered individuals inside with Doom or anywhere in the area. As Doom implores people to live how they want to live, but remember Doom was the only one who could grant them this, Fantastic Four blast into the building, demanding Doom step down as the world's overlord, otherwise they will reveal his weaknesses, his anger, and his greed to the world. Doom wonders if they are eager to fight innocents, revealing the caterers there are all armed with special guns, pulling them out and pointing them at the Fantastic Four. Doom reveals that these people aren't under his control or anything, they're just normal believers who believe in what Doom is doing, and should the team try and disarm them or take the guns away from them, the guns will explode since they have a device in them that registers if it's been taken away unwillingly. This is such a dastardly move on Doom's part. He's shielding himself with innocent believers who have bought into his ideals hook, line, and sinker. This is like what cult leaders do, covering themselves sometimes literally with their followers who can't be hurt or taken or whatever, just so they're protected. Reed knows that they won't attack these people, and Doom is glad since he showed them mercy once initially, and he's deciding to do it again. He comes to see Thing, telling him that Reed's quest to cure his friend has been an utter failure. However, Ben knows he's not mad at Reed for finding a cure anymore. He was at one point, but he's since made peace with who he is and what Reed can't do. Doom, however, isn't interested in that since he wants the best for everyone, and so using his magical abilities, he is able to cure Ben of his mutation, turning him back into just a regular man. Doom takes his leave, telling the world that the Fantastic Four will pay for the damages to the United Nations building, and if they don't, they are to be arrested. Now, I really should have seen this coming. Like, of course, Doom would do something like this to try and, bolster the people around him. To prove that he's, a good guy. He helps the Thing. It's been done before. We've seen it done a couple of times where the Thing has lost his powers or been cured, quote unquote. But there's definitely going to be some type of angle here where there's now a bomb in the Thing now that he's cured. That if they try and attack him again, something bad will happen to him. There's going to be that, that other shoe that will eventually drop, and I'm excited to see what North has in store for Thing now that he's just a normal guy. After his explosive broadcast, the world begins rallying behind Doom even more, and the news reaches the Avengers, who know they are losing this war. Captain Marvel proposes that they do a two-pronged attack, one led by Scarlet Witch, which will focus on magic and espionage, to find out how Doom got the leaders of the world so easily wrapped around his finger. And the other one will be a distraction by the rest of the team, one so big it will draw all focus to them. Iron Man reminds Carol that Doom beat them once before, but Carol knows he did that with PR. He didn't do it physically, and this will be a physical battle. They'll make sure of it. Carol also knows that with the Fantastic Four dealing with the fallout of Ben being turned back into a normal human and the very few Avengers they have left, she must turn to some kind of unconventional methods, revealing that she has called forth the Masters of Evil to help take down Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Doom. Again, this is stuff we've seen before, villains, reluctantly helping the hero and vice versa in big events, and I'm really excited for it. I'm sure Doom has something ready for each and every one of these Masters of Evil, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he is planning on doing with these villains and heroes now that they are openly against him and openly trying to stoke war. One World Under Doom issue 2 was another really fantastic issue. I like the places it's going. It's not like your usual summer Marvel events where it's just all action every issue. There's a bit of action in this issue, but I like how Ryan North is focusing on what Doom is actually doing. Like, he really gets into, like, why is he doing this? What does he want from this? And I love that the section at the start with Valeria and Doom talking about democracy, and the pros and cons of it, and what Doom exactly wants. He wants the glory of it all. It's just really interesting stuff that you never get to see in these big mainstream events, and I like that he's shining a light on it. With the Fantastic Four more or less, kind of dealt with for the moment at least, I'm excited to see what Doom has in store for the rest of the world now that he kind of has free reign of it. Like, what else is he going to do, and when's that other shoe going to drop and his true plans are going to be revealed? I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.